Intern Whisperer Employer Tip of the Week is, this is a great definition from North Carolina State University's Disability Resource Office. We're talking about accessibility. What does that really mean? Well, the school has put out this little brief description. Accessible means a person with a disability is afforded the opportunity to acquire the same information, engage in the same interactions, and enjoy the same services as a person without a disability in an equally effective and equally integrated manner, with sustainability, equivalent, and ease of use. The person with a disability must be able to obtain the information as fully, equally, and independently as a person without a disability. So welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show is all about the future of work and innovation. Today's show is filled with really amazing founders of the Tuesday app. It's Abdullah and Taz Tharoo. Did I say your last name correctly?
That is correct.
Oh my goodness, thank you. All right. So we always start the show with 5 words that describe you and why. And we're going to go to Taz first.
Passionate.
Yeah.
Creative. I'm very driven, detail-oriented for sure, which drives people crazy at times.
Right. That's because we want our way, but we don't want our way.
Well, we want to get the best out of people. So I like to motivator. Like I love to make sure I get the best out of people. And, the project at the end of the day, I want to make sure everybody gave their 100% and happy with the outcome.
So why do you say passionate and creative? Why those 2 words?
So if I take on a project, whether it be based on voluntary or business, for example, Tuesday, if I have to be very passionate and it just shines through to take on something, to give it a meaning to life, right? You want to do something which you're passionate about. So I give more than 100% to it. If I'm really in love with doing something and I'm passionate about it.
I can get that. I can definitely see that. Detail-oriented. I don't think enough people are detail-oriented. So I'm really glad that I have a kindred spirit with me in the room. And sometimes it's like people say, oh, you just want to have your way. No, we like processes.
Yes. I've been told, but then when they see the outcome, the end, they're like, yeah, if anything needs to be get done, they'll come back to me, get it done. I hear you're very detail-oriented. But then I get the projects again to do it all over again because they love the outcome of it. And I think those small things matters.
Yeah, I get you.
Sure.
So over here, what about you? What are your 5 words and why?
Loyalty. I'm very loyal to my beliefs, my faith. I think I'm loyal very much to my wife and my family. That's what defines me. And I'm loyal to people that I've worked with or people who have worked with me. I truly believe in loyalty. It's tough to get to the point where loyalty shows. But when it does, I'm all about it.
You can't buy loyalty.
You can't. And we'll talk about it later, but I will reach back 10 years to someone that I truly believe did right by me or was loyal to us, and we'll reconnect again if there was a need of project or any situation. So for me, that is important. I am candid. I've been told that. I still haven't figured out the definition of candid, but people tell me I am.
It means you're very direct.
I have different perspectives. I listen to things and I have perspectives that I've noticed are not on the table. Simplicity for me, it is direct. Conversations are direct. I take it as they mean. I'm not into an habit of assuming things. So maybe that's where I have been told that I'm candid. I tell as I see it,
right?
Or I will point out what I see. So coating with sugar or coating or hiding it, going in circles is just, it bores me. I cannot take that. So I'm candid in that way. I'm a networker. People call it extrovert. My energy comes from being around people. You can drop me in middle of 50, 100 people group or an event without me knowing anyone. And my goal is to get to know as many people as I want.
Mm.
My personal goal is to meet 10 people every day before I go to bed.
Mhm.
So
That's a lot.
And she knows, when times are tough where, like previous years we have gone through, I will stand out in the street and just want to meet people. And you'll be amazed how that network builds when you just say hello and a smiley face, give a smile to somebody. I'm a true believer in that. Or, or the least I can do is make somebody's day if I pass a good comment or smile. Visionary for sure.
Yeah.
This is where Taz and I truly make a great team. I'm off the cuff. I will wake up at 2:30 in the morning with a thought in mind, and I will go for it. Where Taz is detail oriented, where if she's the one who will remind me or confirm or make sure that what I am thinking is going to work. So she's a great person or a partner for me to bounce things off, because if she wasn't here, I would have probably jumped off a cliff by now.
She can help you implement.
She does.
Yeah.
I think of it and I want to go for it. Learner. There are two words, I think, lifelong learner. But my learner in a sense is I love to learn from others. I need to have a living mentor, a living model. I love to listen to people who have achieved where I want to go. And I love to listen to even the people who are trying to achieve where I want to go. Actually, that's sometimes more valuable to me, because I know what not to do and why it took them so long to get to where they are thinking of going. So it's great. I love learning from people. So I guess those would be my 5 words.
Yeah, you nailed it. Both of you guys did. Well, this is what our listeners don't know, is that you guys are a married couple and you guys have developed this Tuesday app, and we'll talk about that. But we're going to come back over here to you, Taz, and talk about where did you go to school and how did you get to where you are now? If you want to include that whole little I met him at wherever, feel free.
So I was born in Pakistan, Karachi. My family migrated to Canada in my teen years. So I went to high school, went into BCIT, British Columbia Institute of Technology. And right around that time, I also ended up joining my father in the family business that he started from scratch. That's where I get that entrepreneurship from. And I actually helped expand the business from institutional lending company to being one of the leading suppliers and manufacturers of promotional products. So using a towel that you now sell at a salon and converting into a golf towel by simply investing into machinery and manufacturing plant in Canada. And eventually ended up opening a Toronto branch, Eastern Canada, and then also ended up doing a sales office out here in the US as well. So that helped me grow as a person. Loved working in a B2B environment, and the creativity, right, that I loved so much. I got that from a promotional products industry. And then from there, I've known Abdullah since I was 13, and ended up meeting him again when I was in my 20s. And
so you guys were like neighbors on the street or something?
No, actually his sister and I were childhood friends, and we kept in touch. His family migrated to US while mine did to Canada. And then I was, of course, in touch with the sister and ended up meeting him during a weekend trip to Orlando for his dad's surprise 50th birthday. Cool. And we just clicked that weekend and ended up keeping in touch. And yeah, the rest is history. I guess we got married and been married for 20 plus years now.
Oh, wow.
With 2 beautiful kids. So yeah.
That's nice.
And
so how'd you get to Tuesday app?
So when we first got married, Abdullah was in the family jewelry business. And then eventually when we had kids, we knew we wanted a lifestyle to kind of balance it out with the kids. And as we were exploring, and while I was doing my promotional product business in the US, he ended up going and exploring different industry. And that's how we actually came upon the fintech space. And we opened up Pay Concept. We founded it together. While he was doing it full time, I was helping him with the admin and marketing stuff in the background. And then while we did that, around the same time, there was a pitch competition. And what was a concept about Tuesday, back then, we actually ended up winning that pitch competition about the nonprofit space just because of being involved in a philanthropic world since we were in our teen years, maybe even younger on both sides. And then from there, we said, okay, let's kind of, park it for now, just because we're focusing on fintech. And I guess years later, COVID happened. And at that time, we thought it was just a perfect time. Actually, I saw him sitting, and I'm like, you know what, you got to do this. That's our passion. And I think there's no better time now where not only our nonprofit that my daughter founded with the help of Abdullah and myself, but there's so many more nonprofits who are doing amazing work in their own respective areas. How can we help them, raise funds? So that's how the Tuesday came around, which of course was initially vision of Abdullah. It was his vision as we used to attend different events and galas and stuff. So we used to always see this void, where auctions, for example, was limited to people attending the gala, where a value of $2,000 worth would only be, sold in an auction for literally like 20%. Yes.
Or something ridiculous.
Yes, absolutely. So that was kind of heartbreaking to see that because, being volunteering as an events team person and how many labor hours in procuring those auction items. And then seeing nonprofit not able to get the full value for it. And how can they also, not only through auctions, but just their cause, right? Able to go outside their region is pretty much kind of, there were different, things that we saw a void in that helped put together in a Tuesday forum. And I'm sure since it was Abdullah's vision that first started out with that void, I'm sure he can add more to it.
Okay, yeah. So we'll turn over to him. And where'd you go to college? And how'd you get to where you are now? Because before the show started, and you did mention it, jewelry store. Hello. We love jewelry. Women do, for sure.
So I think we should start. From the beginning.
You guys were 13?
Yeah, we were in Karachi, right? I was also born in Pakistan. My dad was an entrepreneur back there. In my teen years, I moved to US and my parents were still back home. I lived here with my uncle. You could say I was blessed ended up in a little southern town called Monroe, Louisiana.
Well, so why did you come here though? Your parents were back in Pakistan?
We were in school. My father was a successful entrepreneur. My father thought that it would be best that I went to school in the United States. We had the
all the kids or just you?
Just me. I'm pretty sure I was handful. There was might be other reasons. I don't think so, but he decided that it would be better for me to go to US and study. We came here and I stayed with my uncle, but during the school years, life was not as easy as I was used to, right? But the great fortune of mine is that I was able to help my uncle and start the jewelry business at age of 16, 17. We had come up with the concept. We started those concept of kiosks in the middle of the mall.
Oh,
there was another company who was doing it. We started that as well on I-20 malls that were on I-20, Texas, Louisiana, New Mexico. So I used to travel quite a bit over the weekends, go set up the stores, hire people. That's where I started to get my entrepreneurial experience.
When you were 16?
I started that when I was 16. So Taz has B2B experience. I have always had B2C experience. I've always been in a retail business. Went through college, went to Louisiana Tech University, wanted to be a pilot. wanted to be
Commercial
a pilot.
or
Commercial.
okay.
Wanted to be a commercial pilot. But at that time, just the second desert storm. It was one of the desert storm that ended. I remember my past is a little vague for me for some reason, for reasons I know. But desert storm ended, and the pilots were in masses. The market was flooded with the retired pilots who just finished out of the war, and the airlines were not hiring, new chaps coming out of colleges. So I found that out when I was in junior year, as I was already in business, I decided to go route the international business and marketing. I finished that, went to school at GIA, Gemological Institution of Americans in Santa Monica to be a gemologist. A gemologist is a person who studies stones, right? Diamonds, emerald, natural stones. Did that. By the time I was graduating from college and that school, my parents were already here, settled in Orlando, Florida. My dad took the business to another level, came in, helped him as we were going into the trajectory of moving to higher brands, and then stayed in the business for many, many years till my daughter was born. And I think my daughter was a biggest reason personally for me to evaluate the life that I was living. I was living a great life, jewelry businesses, it's extravagant business, right? But at some point, it's a great business. I enjoyed it. I helped build the business, but the fulfillment, I was losing the excitement and the fulfillment, right? I was finding myself, it was difficult for me to get up in the morning and go to work. I felt that if I stuck around to what I was doing, there will be no importance to it because I have to be a part of a change, and I have to be doing something that I can learn and improve and expand globally, if not nationally, right? I just want to be in one place and have to be able to make an impact. And even with generating well-being for our family, right? And the only best thing I could think of was go back, work for somebody, learn a business of such technology. And that's how I ended up in payment processing. I saw the sales reps who dealt with me, came and sold me their services while I was in jewelry store. And I just got hold of one of the young ladies. She was with SunTrust. And I said, tell me, what do you do? How do you survive? Take me on the road with you. And she goes, oh, Mr. Tharoo, your shoes, they're $300. You're going to rub them off. You don't want to go with me. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to see 30, 40 people a day. And I said, no, you know what? I'll wear runners. Forget my shoes. I'll come runners and I'll follow you around. So I followed her for 2 days, hitting Kissimmee area, going from store to store to store while she was selling. And she had appointments as well. She was a great help to me. She has now moved on and retired. That's when I realized that this would be something I would like to do. If I work really, really hard, 3 years solid, I can truly give time, do what I love to do, my passion, right? And passion is to give back, give our time, give wherever we can to humanity in general. And then whole by whole, we are blessed with great kids. My daughter started a nonprofit at the age of 9, and we've been involved in that and many other boards. I sit on multiple boards. I chair a couple of nonprofits currently. And that's how, I guess, the vision of my life was, and that's what I followed and how I ended up here. And I know you asked us a question about how we started Tuesday.
Right.
She is right. Tuesday idea, it wasn't Tuesday at all. It was choose to donate, I think, at that time. Somebody called me and said, hey, there's a pitch competition coming in town. And, you could pitch. I'm having a hard time finding people. And so it was myself, one of my admin guys, young man who just published a book, by the way, and Kevin, who's our lead tech right now at Tuesday. I know him from 9 years back. I called these 2 guys up and I said, hey, listen, there's a pitch competition and I'll do a pitch. And Kevin goes, but you don't have anything to pitch. And I said, I have this idea where we can create an application or system where we'll motivate people to donate money and we will give them a gift back. We'll go to corporations, we'll get them to sponsor us. Every time somebody donates something, we'll send them a gift. basically, that was that simple idea. I did not know the logistics. Somebody told me there was a company called Groupon who did something like that back in the day, right? But anyway, we went for the pitch competition. We won the pitch. We prepared the pitch
Which
in
pitch
24 hours.
competition?
It was out of California.
Okay.
It was it's an institution called IPN. They had a pitch competition here in Orlando. Maybe we were really good or we were lucky. It wasn't marketed that well, but we won. There were about 12 teams that went in, and judges thought we had a great idea that could help change the landscape of philanthropy. But in reality, it really didn't make sense. It wasn't really thought after. So we took that. It was a great pitch. It was a great idea. To me, it was. I told you I'm a visionary. I don't think of right or wrong. I just dream of things and I want to put them on paper. So we took that deck and we parked it because I had to make a living. She was working full time with her parents. This company that she started expanded into US. And the goal was solid to work 3 years while Taz was helping me build the pay concept to bring her into pay concept, be able to afford the lives, afford our kids' expenses, afford our expenses. Once that happened, she came in. Tuesday happened. I told you the idea was building and building and building. With my daughter's birth, it got stronger. So basically what I have done over the last 3 to 4 years, I was creating a document that was bullet points. I love writing in bullet points. So there are hundreds and hundreds of bullet points of my thoughts on how I could make smaller and grassroots nonprofits have an equal chance of acquiring donation and awareness. And so I had these notes. I would get up in the middle of the night at 2:30, 3 o'clock for meditation, and I would start writing. She would wake up. She said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I go, "I'm writing this. And this is what I thought. I went to this board meeting today and they were talking about this. It truly didn't make sense to me. So I'm writing, if I had to do this, how would I do it?" Right. And so I had that document and I had accumulated 20, 30 pages of it. And then during COVID, she's right. We are in a payment processing business. Most of our portfolio is weighed in hospitality, lodging and hospitality. And you know what happened with lodging and hospitality. All of the sudden, overnight, our portfolio shrinked 60% at that time. And I always liked to do something. And she could see that I was getting anxious and fidgeting and wanted to do something. And she said, "Hey, all that stuff you've been working on, you should get going. You should start on it. We should start on it." And of course, my daughter has been involved at it because everything we do in the house is like a family conversation. So we have built those documents. And then we went back to Kevin that I met 9 years ago. And I said, "This is the idea I have. What do you think?" To him, it was a project that he has never undertaken before. And he said, "I'm on. I'll give it to whatever I can." And so we found our team who was ready and willing to give up quite a bit to get behind this mission. And so we created the Tuesday app to help fill the technology void that I see nonprofits are facing today and are not able to get their share. How's that?
That is good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm going to come back to you. The colors, I love them. Pink. Now, I have a certificate in nonprofit management. I've worked in nonprofit for parallel with my education and training career path, 26 years in there. And one of the things that came out is the colors that evoke the most giving are an ivory and a red, like Valentine's. But I venture to say, because it's all about, what touches the heart, I would say those colors were intentionally chosen, the white and the pink, because it makes people think of, love, of giving. I don't know. Was that part of the process there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And actually, funny thing you ask about the colors, because, being in promo industry, like PMS color numbers are important, right?
Right.
So, well, we went through gradients and things like that too, but eventually came back to this color because like you said, color speaks,
Yeah, it has meaning to us.
Definitely. And of course, the name has a big meaning behind it, and how we came around the name Tuesday.
I know that the Tuesday in, I think it's November, there's a Giving Tuesday. It's a nationally recognized day in the United States where every nonprofit that's out there is like flooding all of their donors and their prospects and say, hey, this is the day, please give. And I love the fact that there's a dedicated day for that. So I'm going to guess that's part of your thought processes that you guys had.
Yeah, it was actually, so while we were thinking what name to, give this application, because application had already started building in the back end. And one day, I think it was 3 a.m, me and Abdullah were so
Tuesday morning.
Yeah, Tuesday morning. I was actually going to come to that. And then, so he's like, oh, Tuesday, right? So we were going always the night before, we kind of looking at our schedule for next day. And he's like, it's Tuesday. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's Tuesday. And he's like, oh, the name Tuesday. And I'm like, but it's a weekday. It won't be available, right? But he's like, yeah, just like because that is our concept, is to make every day a Giving Tuesday, as Giving Tuesday, like you said, is one of the days. It is the day where nonprofits make 40%?
40% of the annual budget.
Yeah, of raising funds. So how globally, actually.
I believe that.
Yeah. So how can we bring in that concept of making every day a Giving Tuesday, making people more aware of the social impact that they can make by helping these nonprofits, whether they're supporting whatever cause.
Yeah, I like Rally a lot. You had good news today. You shared that you guys got into a group. I don't know if it's too soon to announce that, but if it is, that's okay. You don't have to disclose yet, but it's like, this is not going to air until 4 weeks from now. So it's pretty safe.
Yes. It's called Venture Scale Up.
Yeah. That's
program,
Dennis Poppy's thing.
Cohort. Yes. Dennis is an amazing guy. Met him to Martian. Just true. I have to plug in this, that I think our successes lend a lot towards the people who are around us. We have been very fortunate to be in the circle of individuals who have a forward thinking, are ready to help, and are always open to be of help, right? So we've been fortunate. Met Dennis a little while ago through Martian, and then it was nice to see that there was a program happening. We applied for it and just got an email about an hour ago. So by the time you air this, we'll already be in the midst of that program.
Yeah, you'll already be in the program.
Yes.
I myself am in a program called Prepare for VC, and I applied to that one. They're in Boston. We are, my company, Employers for Change, is one of the 21 companies they said to watch startups in 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yes.
On Thursday, I'm pitching. It is at a live event. There's over 1,500 people registered to attend it. So it's all live. It's on something called Goldcast. And so you can sign up for it. It's kind of like an Eventbrite thing, but not really Eventbrite. But, it's on my LinkedIn. Anybody want to sign up? By then I'll be done. But I was very excited by the fact that I also had somebody that is an investor in ed tech and HR tech. And she reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I went, oh my gosh, that's the first time that's happened. So,
awesome.
We're celebrating in the room for both of our successes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are very grateful, right? And it truly does matter. I think this is not the question you asked, but I hear when startups guys talk about how they're paying to get their name and make the noise out in the market. We truly running this Tuesday as a bootstrap operation, but we were really blessed. At Synapses, we ran into Orlando, NO, or OBJ crew. And that was last year. And we were just published 2 weeks ago in Orlando Business Journal edition. And truly, it wasn't a cost, but it ensures, or it ensures us that we are doing something right, not great. I don't know how great is what outcome will
Great
be.
grows.
Right. Great grows. But we are doing something right that somebody noticed. And that has opened up the floodgates where people are reaching out and saying, whoa, tell us about your app, right? What is it? What do you mean by democratizing the donor base? What do you mean by accepting donations and loyal followers from across the country? I mean, and there is no cost to our app up to the June. There is no SaaS model. There is no fees for nonprofits. So it's been nice. It's been nice. We feel that we are blessed that we truly followed our dream and followed our passion. It is a passion project. Every time I pitch, I tell them it's a passion project because of Rally turned into this. They've made us realize it's a need for a lot of nonprofits out there.
You guys are closing that bridge for profit to meet nonprofit and be able to accelerate that giving that is supporting the nonprofit community. That before, you'd have to host a lot of events. I'm sure COVID, we'll talk about that later, has had a big impact. But my goodness, it's just making it more, your word, accessible. Yes.
Simple.
And that kind of leads into one of my other questions. So what is your definition, Taz, of accessibility? But keep in mind, I'm going to throw it over onto the side of how we think of the traditional ways of diversity, equity, inclusion, and now accessibility. And we usually equate that to people that have been underserved in some way. So your definition of accessibility?
So I'll tell you, in my way of thinking, of experiencing so far from Tuesday compared to Pay Concept or Fair Deal, Import and Export Feel, brand of Puma products, I've come to realize that the more you're out there networking, you are going to have access to some great minds, great mentors. Martian is somebody I admire who's been there that I've met. At the same through Abdullah and alongside Phil, who is our CFO, has come along because of accessibility to him through another common friend. So for me, accessibility is to success is by meeting some great like-minded people who can help drive your passionate project, in this case Tuesday, to that next level, because you do need some great mentors, great team members around you, because no one person can take, your passion. Well, you can vision it, but until and unless you don't surround yourself with some great people that you have access to really be able to execute it.
What about you, Abdullah? What is accessibility?
Wow, what is accessibility? For me, accessibility is success. But in your terms, if you're talking about diversity.
In the HR world, right.
In diversity, if you're talking about it, I've lived in Louisiana, I've lived in Monroe. I think as long as humanity survives, there will be some sort of discrimination at all levels, right? I hear people talk about to eliminate discrimination and inequality from the face of the earth. I told you I speak candidly. I'm all for it. I'm all to make sure that the level field, the reason we created the app, to provide a resource to create a level playing game for all sizes of nonprofit, right? But then again, we have to leave to those nonprofits to make sure that they are able to utilize the tools that are available to them. For me, diversity and accessibility is simple. It's the place on the table. It's your opinions. It's your thoughts that truly excite and inspire me. Everybody from everywhere, sector of life, gender, region of the world, all of us think differently. And if you give them a chance to bring forth their thoughts, I believe that is diversity. I don't think of diversity in terms of physical appearances.
No.
My goal is to provide the best to whoever is sitting in front of me. So I believe for me, diversity and accessibility is being able to provide the tools for even play, and to be able to have them access what we are providing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
A tough question. Have
It
to
is,
be politically
right?
correct. And sometimes I think how it should flow, but I truly believe knowledge is power, and knowledge from all these individuals with disability to different genders to different different environments of background truly helps you move forward. Our world is getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
We are not all running on a straight line anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it is good to know what's happening around us so we can adjust to the changing world.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to take a brief moment to acknowledge our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios.
The Intern Whisperer is brought to you by Cat 5 Studios, who help you create games and videos for your training and marketing needs that are out of this world. Visit Cat 5 Studios for more information to learn how Cat 5 Studios can help your business. Thank you, Cat 5 Studios.
And we are back to our show. We are welcoming again Abdullah and Taz. They are the founders of Tuesday App. And we're going to switch this up a little bit and talk about COVID's impact on business. Now, that really has tied in with your app also, right? So let's go over here to Taz and get your thoughts about how COVID probably accelerated what your vision is, your joint vision for sure.
Absolutely. Of course, we all know that we couldn't have a physical gala, right? Now, what we were hoping was, when we first started thinking of this app, remember when we won, was when there are physical events, right? So you're still able to get out to those donors outside their regional reach. But COVID just made it how much necessary it is to have a technology software like Tuesday for nonprofits.
Right.
Whether they have an in-person event or not have it. And even if once they do go back to an in-person event, as we're starting to slowly see this year, but it really helps open up that avenue of fundraising, for nonprofits, which is what they have to have, that, funds coming in to be then able to focus on their causes and not have to worry about getting those funds in, and rather than focus on the execution of their plan to make the world better place, whatever, they're trying to solve through their nonprofit.
Yeah, events are really expensive for a nonprofit to be able to do. And what you're doing is, I see you're leveling the field in that area, because now we don't have to worry about a venue. It's all online. Secondly, you've taken the fact that it can be 24/7. So it's not tied to, we have to have food events and we have to have, volunteers and all of this other people and things that happen when we have an event. I think that was obviously brilliant. I think that what people don't remember about nonprofits is that these are ways that they help bring money into an organization that supports a lot of different communities that are struggling, whether it's homeless or if it's, children that are in some type of a hunger situation in
Domestic
school,
violence,
all over the place, whether it's animals, whatever it is that somebody is passionate about, there is always a nonprofit that is hopefully there to support it. What is great is this gives them an online store where there can always be things that people buy. And that's no different than in retail. So what about you, Abdullah? What do you say at COVID's impact on this? And what are your observations, I guess, or if you want to just build on top of Taz's story?
No, Taz is 100% correct, right? We both know that it is a necessary tool to validate our thought. As I said, we got included, or we got accepted to Rally Incubator Program. And Mark Brewer, president and
He's
CEO, awesome guy, right?
Yeah.
And having a conversation on Zoom, he said, this is a great idea. But more than that, it is the essential tool for nonprofits in this day and age. And the reason was COVID was already affecting us. And he said, first of all, we need nonprofits need easy to use tools or application or software that doesn't have a high barrier of entry. And I mean financial and expertise, right? Somebody who knows how to deal with new softwares. It should be something that everybody can use it. And then COVID, what it did is it limited the face-to-face conversations. Nonprofits were going through a hard time because who depended on face-to-face galas and in-person cultivation were not able to do it. So a platform like Tuesday allows them to keep their to help them increase their donor acquisition, to help them with donor engagement, constant engagement, because we have gamified the gamified the giving, right? People get excited when they're bidding on things, and then and it brings fun. So it is truly, I believe now, looking back or looking at the app as it has evolved, it is an essential tool. And then there are a lot of things that come out with it. So we have one of the local nonprofits called Victim Service Center. I hope I can say the names. Great nonprofit, right, in town. They have a big gala coming up next week. And that truly, because of them, we were also able to understand another advantage of our Tuesday app. They had some tickets for Orlando Predators or one of the sport teams. It was only 4 tickets for a suite, and they had no event that was happening. There was no way to monetize that. It was given to them as a donation. And the CEO called and said, I have these 4 tickets. You think we can put them up on Tuesday? They were already they are on Tuesday. And so they went ahead and put the tickets on Tuesday, and ho behold, rather than him giving it away for 50% off or 20% off or 60% off, the tickets sold for almost the retail price.
That's awesome.
Right. So he was able to monetize those tickets in 10 days. So you don't need an event to access,
to support an organization. You can do it based on anything. Yeah.
Right. And we have also noticed that the donors who are participating in auctions, of course, they do it because they like what they see, but they also get to learn about the nonprofits, those that have put those auctions up. We have also seen the donor acquisition is truly real. Nobody's there to cultivate them. Nobody's there to buy them a Starbucks coffee and say, hey, look what our nonprofit does. Donors from across the country. There's a nonprofit out of Tennessee who did an event. They got donations from people as far as Texas. And those people have never met them. They have never pitched them. And they didn't even market to them. Those app users were on our app. They logged in and signed up on our app. They saw that there was a nonprofit out there in Tennessee who was raising money for domestic violence. And so they went ahead and they donated, and I'm pretty sure they're going to follow them, because there's no other reason that they would donate unless they liked what the cause was, right? So, so we've been very excited to see how our app has turned into a bigger, it's making a bigger impact.
It makes a larger reach, for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It extends the reach. Yeah, that is just wonderful to see.
It's amazing. Like some of our nonprofits already, for example, if mention the name End Slavery, is actually, they do part of human trafficking as well. And then there were a couple of nonprofits who actually, the other thing that we saw coming out of this was nonprofits connecting with each other, where they're, basically supporting the common cause, like homelessness. So Sharing Center, for example, is on the app in Central Florida, and so is Miles to Go, and they both support homelessness. So they work with each other as well. So we see a lot of cross cultivation, because of course one nonprofit also gives grants to other nonprofits. So not only from a donor perspective, but also from the nonprofits supporting each other as well. We have seen that come through. One of the other beauties we have heard from a donor's perspective is how they get instantaneous receipt. So they're not chasing a nonprofit to get their donation tax receipt at the end of the year. So everything is under their own profile. So it makes it very convenient for them.
Oh, nice.
And also know how much budget they have for that year to then be able to give to nonprofits as they please as well.
Yeah, I can
instant
see
gratification. Let's put it that way.
It is, but in a way that feels very, very comforting, I would think. I would think that there's also probably, as you guys get more traction, more exposure, that there would be organizations that would say, oh, let's take all of this excess, I don't know, whatever the product is, and instead of taking it to Tuesday Morning or a secondhand retail store, let's put it up here on this app, Tuesday app, and let the money be distributed to a lot of other organizations. So it could be Halloween costumes. It could be something that is from Nike, some, products, shoes that they're going, well, we're shutting down this particular, I don't know if it would be called model, whatever, style of shoe. That would be it. They could put it up there and it could sell in a different way.
It is a great idea, but we have twisted this idea to make sure that our donors know that every transaction that happens on Tuesday app is through a verified 501c3.
Yeah.
So we did do test runs in our infancy where we allowed people to put up products, and people are very gracious. But sometime a junk for you is truly a junk for somebody else as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We do
One man's trash is another man's treasure, right?
Could be, right? But then it also could be another man's junk.
It could be.
Right. So what we noticed that if we left the doors open for individuals or companies to come in and just post products and say the donation will go towards a nonprofit, it was creating an issue for us from the supply chain and also from the quality aspect, right?
I see.
Pictures speak what you see, I guess.
Yeah.
But when you receive the product, it's not the same. So if there is a company out there who truly wants to give an in-kind donation, they can reach out to a nonprofit that's on Tuesday platform. They can send the product to those nonprofit if they agree, and then the nonprofit can go ahead and put it up on the auction. That way, because in our platform, we do not hold any funds from nonprofits. It is next day the funds are deposited. Now we have changed it to once a week because our nonprofits were complaining that little bit of donation that comes in every day creates a big headache for their bookkeepers, right? $10 here, $100 here. So now we do once a week deposit, and guess what day it is deposited on?
Tuesday, I hope.
Tuesday morning.
That's right.
So the thing is that way they have complete control on supply and quality. It is very important for us to make sure.
And batching up their deposits so that it's not.
But with products, it's very important for us. A reputational risk means a lot to us. I'm from a B2C business. And for me, we want to make sure that nonprofits do not get into a problem with their reputation by providing a product that does not meet their standards, right?
Yeah, I get that. All right. So what do you think the future of work is going to look like? But we can either go this way. We can talk about remote and blended on-site flexible work. I'm sure you guys are working from home. Or we can talk about robots, AI, augmented reality, virtual reality. I think you're not really in that space, but you're selling online. I can see some things that would be super appealing on the Tuesday app would be, being able to have a virtual reality experience. There are some of those places that are down on iDrive where people can go and say, I just was able to experience what it was like to jump out of a plane. And I don't mean the thing on iDrive where it's a giant fan underneath me, but nonetheless, I can see you guys getting some definite exposure in those high ticket items.
Yes. Again, it's everything we create is simplicity, right? We need to make sure that our donors can make an impact within 3 touches of an application. Simple. We don't ask our donors to jump hoops from one application to a website to this. So it is very important for us to make it user-friendly experience. With that said, we are very future thinking. As I told you, I vision all the time. We have a long-term plans to do with metaverse.
Good.
Yes. With that said, it is a public news. 2 weeks ago, we just launched a crypto donation processing on Tuesday app. We have made it easier than accepting a credit card, and that will hopefully open our Tuesday app by next year to a global audience. Global audience in a sense, nonprofits, but now as accepting crypto. Anybody can accept crypto, correct? Anybody can donate crypto. So we have already added crypto. In last 2 weeks, we have received close to around $600 to $700 value of crypto donations. We are able to convert crypto to a local currency within 15 minutes of the transaction. We're able to convert it in the blockchain within 5 minutes, if not less. So there is no risk for nonprofits as far as the risk of valuation of crypto or fluctuation in the value.
You know, that's huge because a lot of them may not have experience in that. They may not have a subject matter expert. You're able to take their limited staff and be able to bring that type of technology into an organization that would say, oh, we don't have anybody that knows anything about that. And they could say, oh yeah, it's already been vetted out by your company. We can actually translate that into dollars for us, for our organization.
It's a effortless process.
Yeah.
We take all the risk. We do the conversion. We deposit the funds for nonprofits within 72 hours in their bank account.
That's very futuristic.
As I mentioned, it's like accepting credit card. You know, once you press donate on a credit card, what happens? Nonprofit doesn't find out till they get the money in the bank.
Right.
I mean, yes, in our app, they get instantaneous receipt. The donor gets a receipt and the nonprofit gets a copy of the receipt that says you have received this donation. And the same thing with crypto. It's once the donor accesses their wallet and puts in the wallet address, press accept, it is done. There is nothing to it. It takes about a minute to set it up on your platform on Tuesday. And now you have access to, as I say, virtual abundance wealth that is out there right now. And those people who are accumulating virtual wealth, believe me or not, truly want to make an impact in this world. And with that, I'll just jump to it now. The customer that uses crypto, the generation, it's a younger generation. So whole, how would I say, whole outlook on what a donor looks like.
Oh, it's changing the customer buyer personas change. You can be able to identify them right away through that. Yes, I get it.
So if the nonprofit wants to be accessible with the newer generation, would it be Generation Z?
It's right? Generation Z.
That's
After
right.
that, it is Alpha. Yes.
Wow. Generation Z and Alpha, then because those guys don't believe in cash money. They do everything with Apple Pay. They do everything with virtual. They don't like to have wallets in there.
Well, we are at like the end of our show. So I'm going to be asking you, what is the best mentoring advice you want to share with our listeners? So I'm going to go with you first, Taz.
Don't try to do everything yourself.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know how to do something, rather than trying to figure out, like, find somebody who has gone through it and can help you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert, and like Abdullah, who's an extrovert. So that was eventually, challenging growing up. But I've learned, and it's amazing. Like people are really there to help you. People you think they're not within your reach, they're really a phone call away, or just matter of just being out there and then community and just going and asking for help.
What about you? What's your mentoring advice you want to pass on?
Very simple. Your network is determination of your net worth. I truly believe the people who there is no time soon. There is no wrong time to find people who will lift you. I truly believe that the people you keep around you, you are going to do what or you're going to end up like what they are doing. That's why I'm a learner. I learn from people. But I believe that your network now is determination of your future net worth. Don't be shy to bring in mentors. Don't be shy to make new friends. Everybody in life gets to a certain level where they need different conversations of different level.
We all bleed the same.
We all bleed the same.
It is all red when
That's
it comes
right.
out. Yeah.
And but what is different is the intellectual treasure that the person can provide you, right? So I tell my kids, every conversation or every time you meet somebody, it should give you spiritual, emotional, or economical benefit. And I'm not being selfish, but if you keep that in mind when you're having a conversation, you would save yourself a lot of headache and sin, right? There's no reason to talk about others behind their back because that destroys you. So for me, it's always, I have to evaluate every conversation or person I'm going to meet to see how either I can help them in these three categories or how they will be able to help me in these categories, because we are all here to grow together and there's no reason to waste somebody's time.
How can people get in touch with you guys? I know that I pulled up your LinkedIn. We always share LinkedIn when we do these posts, just so you know, when you see them come through, we'll tag you, let you know the day before the show is going to, drop. You'll be able to have all of that good stuff. We always see it as a collaboration. So if you share from us and tag us, we're able to tag you. And obviously it all comes back. I feel the love in the room for sure. But how else would you tell people they can find Tuesday app, Taz?
Tuesday.app. Once they go on there, they can download it. It's available on the Apple and Google Play Store. Just do Tuesday app. And also, if you wanted to send a quick email, you could do it at info@tuesday.app to reach out. I thought that would be the easiest to remember.
Yeah, that's much easier. Yeah, people can sign up that way. And you said they can download it from Apple and also Android. I guess, whatever, Google. Okay.
So just to plug it, Tuesday is an application that does silent auction donation campaigns and is accessible to the national donor base or the user base. It is also a customized app for app users where they can set up what their likings are in terms of causes and also the category of products they would like to see. So now whenever any nonprofit in this country, any nonprofits on Tuesday app puts up an auction item, they will not be bordered. Please, we request them to turn on the notification so that way they only see the product that they are interested in. Just that feature alone has helped increase return on investment for nonprofits by 40% and helped increase the satisfaction of an app user by probably 100%, because now they're not bothered with things that they're not interested. They only see the products that they want.
Well, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios. Thank you to our production team, our video interns, Chase McDowell, David Ullman, Efren Cuevas, and Keisha Perez. Our music is by Sophie Lloyd and sound effects by Eric Peterson, Matt Miller, Dave Francis, Miguel Sintra. If you would like to have your inclusion tip of the week shared on our show, record your inclusion tip, send your audio file to info@internpursuit.tech and include your name, job role, and where you work. We will email you with our Intern Pursuit backgrounds from our game, or you can also get a t-shirt from us. Visit employers4change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusion culture while skilling your people for the future. I want to say thank you guys. You guys were awesome guests. Nobody would ever know that this was like, you guys have practiced this a million times. You have this down to a science. So like it was a good conversation. I hope you're feeling the love too.
When you speak from heart, I think it's easy.
Oh yeah, totally.
So thank you for making it so
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.